First of all, you need to know why mushrooms and moss would work. So they're both naturally found. Mushrooms can grow in a range of temperatures, and they usually start growing in spring when temps are colder but they're moist. For optimum growth though, the best environments are in shade or dark places. As for moss, it can grow in any location that has sufficient amount of water that isn't salty, mind you, which means they usually thrive on logs, trees, walls, or rocks. They're very hardy plants that can be found in humid to polar regions. And just a little quick fact, Sphagnum genus contains 382 species. So you have heaps to choose from. And nature always wins. Nature will recover and reclaim, and it's adaptable. So there's examples like Chernobyl, Hiroshima, and the Australian bushfires. Those pictures, the one on the left is Hiroshima today. The middle pictures are said before and after. The before is New South Wales before the bushfires. After, there's no greenery. And then the picture on the right is an updated photo from Google Earth that I cropped out. See all that greenery? Everything's grown back. It's fabulous. Well, why did we pick nature as a way to reduce our carbon emissions in the atmosphere for our experiment? Why did we choose moss and mushrooms? Well, we've done some research and we found that urban blue and green spaces are highly beneficial. So these spaces can mitigate climate change impacts and lower the risks of disasters. Green spaces can be grown in almost any man-made structure, especially helpful in highly populated areas, as the spaces can mitigate the effects of pollution and can reduce the urban island heat effect. So blue spaces, on the other hand, are outdoor environments involving water, so like lakes and man-made rivers and whatnot. They can help with reducing stress, improving mental health and physical activity, and so much more. Both these spaces provide health benefits, which would encourage the public to build more blue and green spaces, i.e. increase the health of the environment and also the occupants within the said environment. As for vertical gardens though, it's the idea of solving overpopulation and overcrowding by creating vertical towers instead of land flattening and deforestation to build homes and apartments. So the high rises enhance living conditions as the amount of land that's been cleared for homes or apartments has been reduced, and farmers are then able to increase their agricultural responsibilities as there is enough land to increase their production amount due to overpopulation of the area. The vertical gardens would have plants growing on the side of the buildings, similar to green spaces where there are environmental benefits, as well as mental health benefits, of course. There can be a possibility for residents of the high rises to create their own gardens, where they're able to grow their own fruits, veggies, or flowers, thus increasing the chances of reducing pollution in their area and reduce the heat created in the city. So we have a few more facts. So vertical gardens are innovative solutions that reduce the carbon footprint and can use pretty much any plant that you want, small or large. The most popular green space though is the Gardens by the Bay, which is the image in the top right corner but the left. So those buildings that look like little flowers, that is actually the garden in Singapore. So it has more than 500,000 plant species in it, and it's about 250 acres big and is as high as 164 feet. So that's quite impressive. Of course, there's more, but Singapore is the most well-known green space there is.
So how did we build this mini ecosystem carbon removal device? Using the containers provided by the lovely demonstrators, we collectively worked on the production of our carbon removal device. Once we received our Bunnings equipment, we set up the respective grow your own mushroom kits, 2 in total, to begin the mushroom growing process from scratch. This is useful as they are organic mushrooms with no pesticides or chemicals to enhance or alter the mushroom growth. Next, the organic flaxseed gel were purchased from Woolworths, ensuring that they are organically certified. We then placed 1 cup into a pot and 2 cups of water and stirred it until the pot came to a boil. This process took 10 minutes altogether. Once the pot was removed from the stove, we used a cheesecloth to strain and separate the seeds from the gel to have the final result. We froze this concoction overnight. The next morning, we filled our spray bottles with water and began the assemblage of the items into the provided container. This was done by first placing flaxseed gel using our hands and a spray bottle. Once we evenly distributed the gel, we began to place the sphagnum moss into our hands and on all 5 sides of the container where the flaxseed gel was placed. We allowed this to dry in the sun for 10 minutes, using it as a natural adhesive. The mushrooms and sphagnum moss are watered daily using spray bottles to keep them surviving without drying out. The mushrooms were kept in a moist environment where the sun doesn't directly hit them, allowing optimal growth conditions. These are mimicked in the natural environment, which would normally allow them to thrive. A 2-in-1 fan and light was purchased and placed into the mushroom and moss ecosystem, allowing circulation of the atmospheric composition in a controlled environment.
Yo!
So sphagnum moss, we use this for a variety of reasons. One, they have the potential to act as a keystone species, regulating carbon and nitrogen flows. They provide shelter and oxygen to microbes. They have unique physiological and morphological adaptations that dominate primary production and carbon cycles. They have been identified as being able to store around 1/3 of the Earth's carbon, and they're definitely a dominant form of flora. They are very abundant in the natural world. They have a high water holding capacity, adaptable pH range, high carbon dioxide capture, reusability or ruggedness, and are a source of endophytic microbes. It has been estimated that sphagnum moss holds more carbon in its tissues than any other plant genus. By having these diverse abilities, sphagnum moss is suitable for many areas and can thrive very well under pressure. Mushrooms. So, fungi are such a diverse kingdom and contribute to so many systems on Earth. It has been stated that it is the most species-rich group of eukaryotic organisms after insects. Their diversity is estimated to be around 1.5 million to 3 million. The reason we have used mushrooms in our design is because they contribute more than bacteria to carbon sequestration, harness biomineralization, which is the conversion of carbon dioxide into minerals, and their fungal tissues input large amounts of carbon into soil, leading to the integration of more carbon into soil fungal biomass. Plus, mushrooms are pretty cute and have so many different capabilities that are yet to be fully researched. And the big question is, how can this be used in the real world? Well, they can be used on buildings and in backyards and even on highways like the walls and the islands that definitely can't have trees. The benefits, they produce more ecosystems, strengthen the already existing plants in the area, can be aesthetically pleasing to see mushrooms and sphagnum moss, and provides more habitats for invertebrates.